I have my latte. Let's talk about money and ballet. Many of you want to know about the salaries as a professional ballet dancer, how you get paid, how it works for freelance dancers, the amount of money ballet dancers are paid, all the ins and outs about that topic. So today I thought I would sit down and do a long form video to talk about it. Before we get into the juicy stuff, I want to make a disclaimer. This does not apply to everyone. I'm speaking from my own experience and from what I've seen and from the people that I've talked to and things that I have experienced in my career. I would love for you guys, if you're dancers, to share your experiences in the comments so that we can have a conversation about it. Payment also depends on which company you're with, which country you're in, what rank you are, the funding that the company has, the artistic director. There are so many different aspects that go into it. For this video, I'm only going to be talking about the United States. I can most confidently talk about what's going on in the United States. I can't confidently talk about other countries. I do want to say that in the United States, there is this mentality of like, if you're paid, then you should be grateful no matter how much it is or how little it is. There's a lot of scarcity mentality in the ballet world in the United States. Like this environment or industry where directors or companies want you to be grateful that you're getting paid at all, even if it's a very low amount. It's a very toxic mentality to have, and it happens a lot with younger dancers. So first and foremost, when you are around 18 years old and you're going into a ballet company for the very first time, most of the time in the United States, you are not paid, and sometimes you have to pay tuition. Yes, you are legally an adult. Yes, you have bills to pay. A lot of times you're not living at home anymore, but that doesn't matter to them. Basically, they're saying this is a privilege to be taking class with this company and maybe being in the performances with them, so you should be grateful. Most commonly, this rank is called trainee. Trainees usually are still paying tuition, but it depends on the company. The next level up is studio company, or some companies don't have trainees and it's just a studio company. The studio company is basically a junior company and is also referred to the second company. So it's basically like the rank before you get into the actual company. Sometimes studio company members are paid a very small amount. More commonly, they're not paid anything and they're just given a certain amount of point shoes per year. Sometimes that's just like 3 pairs at Nutcracker or a couple pairs in the performances that they're in. Trainee studio company members, second company members are not guaranteed to be in company performances. A lot of times they're in the room with the company, they're there for the same amount of hours, they're standing in the back as understudies learning the part, and even if they're thrown into the part, that doesn't mean that they're going to be paid for it. This age and rank is where dancers are taken advantage of the most. This age is where you are the most desperate to make it into this industry, to make your dreams come true, the age where you are the least likely to speak up and to stand up for yourself. So directors and companies do take advantage of that. Now, the lowest rank that's considered part of the ballet company is usually apprentice. So once you're an apprentice in most companies in the US, that's considered part of the real company. And this is the rank where you usually start to get paid. Now, there are only so many big companies in the United States. Most of the companies in the United States are medium or small. This usually means that the medium and small companies have a lot less funding. So that's usually going to reflect on the salary. Apprentices are paid, from what I've heard in my experience, my friends, and my network, anywhere from $50 to $150 per week. And then commonly they are also provided with some point shoes. Usually it's not enough point shoes, maybe 10 to 20 pairs per season. Depending on what kind of shoe you use, usually that is not enough, especially with the hours that you are dancing. Usually the apprentice age range generally is 19 to 22, 23 maybe. So just to give you a full picture, you are going into your 20s now. You still are paid a very low amount, and it is nowhere near enough to live on, especially if you are in states like California, New York, or in a big city. And yes, there are companies that also do not pay their apprentices. So that's why it's kind of hard for me to speak on this, because every company is going to be different. Now we get into the next rank, which is corps de ballet. I want to mention that even if you're part of a big company, that doesn't mean that you're going to have a livable wage. Really hot in the ballet news recently was ABT and San Francisco Ballet going on strike due to not receiving livable wages as company members. So these were mostly, I believe it was mostly corps de ballet members, but also some soloists that were not receiving livable wages. And these two are in the top 5 biggest companies in the United States. And they were not paying the dancers livable wages. So you can only imagine what the small companies are paying. So back to the corps de ballet, I have heard of companies that also do not pay corps de ballet members. They just give them the title and the rank, and they have them on their website as corps de ballet members, and they're not paid. Now, some of you may be thinking, this is against the law, this is abuse, this goes against labor laws. Not just the corps de ballet members being paid a very low amount or nothing at all, but also the very low pay for trainees, studio company, and apprentices when they're doing the same amount of hours as the main company. A lot of people comment about how that should be against the law or goes against labor laws. Well, the thing is, these dancers sign contracts and they agree to this. They are aware and they agree to it. So this is where directors and companies take advantage of the young dancers that want to make it in this industry. But technically nothing can be done because the dancers are willingly doing it. And I remember being that young and also being willing to sell my soul for a company. So I can understand where they're coming from. Sometimes you will do anything to make it. Ballet company dancers will sign a contract for the next season. A season is usually from around August to September, all the way until May or June. They are paid for the weeks that they are working. Most companies do not pay during layoff. Layoff would be like a week off at Thanksgiving, 2 weeks off at Christmas, and then all of the summer months are not paid. I may be wrong for the big companies, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. Usually it's a monthly salary that they receive during the year, maybe every 2 weeks. From small to medium-sized companies, I've heard the corps de ballet pay is around $250 to $345, $400 per week. And their hours are roughly 9:30 in the morning to 4 to 5 at night, and then performances on top of that. And yes, I have heard many instances where the men are paid more than the women, and in some cases paid double. So they make double what the women make. Not everywhere, not everyone, but that's what I have heard and I have witnessed with my own 2 eyes. Now talking about bigger companies, the pay is more for the corps de ballet. So I have heard that it's up to $1,000 per week, sometimes $1,200 per week. But again, if you do the math, $1,000 per week, $4,000 a month, not enough to live in a big city. Rent alone is off the charts right now, so there's no way. Now, when you get into soloist principal territory, this is where the dancers make the most. If you're in a big company and you're a principal, then you're going to be doing okay. There's a small company that I know of, and I know their principal salary, and it is $500 a week, which is pretty low for a principal salary. That would be $2,000 a month. I don't have numbers for you guys for the big companies, and I don't want to give you inaccurate information, but I do know that the principals at bigger companies are usually doing pretty well. We've talked about salaries. When you're in a ballet company, I want to talk about health insurance. Usually you're only provided health insurance when you're part of a big company. Most of the smaller companies do not provide health insurance. A lot of people ask me about health insurance as a freelance dancer, not realizing that a lot of dancers in ballet companies are not provided health insurance. Dancers in bigger companies also just have a lot more things offered to them. They usually have massage therapists backstage where they can go to them at any time, also at the ballet studio in between rehearsals. They have access to chiropractors, access to gyms, also have access to physical therapy, which makes all of the difference in maintaining the health of your body. Smaller companies have some of that, but not all of it. You're lucky to have access to a massage therapist in a smaller company. Again, if you're a ballet dancer, I would love for you to share your experiences down below in the comments. If you've had a different experience or if you've heard of someone having a different experience in a ballet company, I would love to read about it. So now let's talk about how ballet dancers do it when they don't have a livable wage. Many ballet dancers have to have at least 1 or 2 jobs outside of the ballet company. When I was younger, I witnessed this, especially the girls in their 20s. I was not in my 20s yet. The girls in their 20s would rehearse all day with ballet company, and they were corps members. We would be rehearsing all day. It would be super, super grueling, full-length ballets. And then after we were finished at around 4 or 5, they had to go to their second job. A lot of times this was bartending, waitressing, nannying, or teaching ballet at a ballet school. Some of my colleagues were working at their second job until midnight, and then we would go to ballet class the next morning at 9:30, and they would talk about how tired they were. Unfortunately, this usually leads to injury and burnout. The human body can only go so long under so much physical and mental stress. So that's usually how ballet dancers make ends meet, unless you have parents that are helping you. I think I've covered everything with ballet companies. Now I want to talk a little bit about freelance dancing. I have been a freelance dancer ever since COVID happened. It's kind of a natural transition for me. I had experienced company life and I wanted to try freelancing. I am born and raised in San Diego, and I really just wanted to live in San Diego again. There's no ballet company in San Diego that I'm interested in working with, so freelance was what I decided to try. So the way that freelance money and payments work is that usually you are hired for a certain amount of performances and you are paid per performance based on your skill level and your experience level. So the rate that I would charge when I first started freelancing, which was 5 years ago now, 4 or 5 years, was a lot less than I'm charging now because I do have a lot more experience now. I'm older, I've trained longer. I've performed a lot of different pas on stage, and while I will not be telling you my rate because that is too personal and I do not want to give out personal information, I will give you a window of what freelancers charge. So usually when you're first starting freelancing, if you are in your early 20s, around there, the payment is usually between $200 to $500 per performance, $500 being on the higher end. For someone that's young and kind of just starting out with freelance, like 500 would be really good if you're 20, honestly, because if you're doing a run of 4 shows and you're getting $500 per show, then you're making $2,000 in one weekend. Keep in mind that ballet dancers in ballet companies also do guesting work quite often. So just because they're with a ballet company doesn't mean that they won't do guest artist gigs with another organization. So some of these principal dancers at ABT, San Francisco Ballet, Houston, Boston Ballet, they are doing guest work, and their rates, if they are principals or soloists, will be quite high. So I do know that for a full-length ballet, if they are a principal from a company and they're being hired to do a full length with another organization, their rate could be anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 per show, which is a pretty good chunk of change, especially when I've just gone over the salaries for dancers and how a lot of dancers don't even make any money, or they're making $100 a week. Can't even buy groceries with that anymore. So my rate is somewhere in between that. I'll leave it up to your imagination, but freelancing, if you're getting gigs, pays pretty well, especially during busy seasons, and my busy seasons are summer and Nutcracker season, obviously. Most of the time, if you're just doing freelancing and you're not part of the company, just like I am, you're not making enough money to live on throughout the year, although it depends on your living situation and the city that you're in. So freelancers will usually have to supplement with other jobs as well. The difference is that as freelancers, we're not working from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday. We have a lot more free time, a lot of freedom in our schedule. You have more time to work other jobs. So personally speaking, my second job is social media. I make income as a content creator. That helps a lot when I'm not doing a lot of performances. So again, it's all going to depend on your personal situation and the city you live in, how much money you spend, how good you are at budgeting. Now, another big question I get is, do I pay for the flights, transportation, food, lodging, and all of that? The answer is no. The people who hire me fly me out. They pay for all of the hotel. They pay for all of the food, any Ubers that I take, and then daily per diem as well. So I virtually pay for nothing, and then I am paid to perform. The reason why freelancing is so attractive to me, at least right now, is because I have a lot of freedom in my schedule. I have a lot of freedom in what I choose to perform. I am not tied down to a company. There are pros and cons to both being in a ballet company and being a freelance dancer. It's kind of just what your priorities are and what you're looking for. I feel very happy in my freelance life right now. I don't care if I'm performing for a little ballet school or if it's some international amazing gala festival. A performance is a performance for me. I take it seriously no matter what. I don't care the size of the audience. As long as there's people out there, I am giving it my all and I am thoroughly enjoying it. So a lot of people want to discredit freelance dancers because they're not, on some huge stage in New York. I don't have that mentality at all, and I don't care what people think of me. I'm dancing every day. I'm performing. I'm dancing ballets that I love. What a privilege it is to dance every day and to get paid to do what I love. I also love creating videos and making content. So I have so much gratitude for my life and the way that I choose to live it. A lot of people don't understand or criticize me for my decisions, and that doesn't matter to me, honestly. People can say whatever they want about you, but it's up to you to decide what you want for yourself because it's your life, not theirs. I hope that answers your questions somewhat. I'm not going to get into my private life or my financial situation or my income because that is very private and I do not wish to share it. I hope this gave you a better understanding of the ballet industry, whether you are a dancer who is up and coming and training and wishes to be in a ballet company, or maybe you're a parent of a dancer that's trying to learn more about the ballet industry, or maybe you've never done ballet in your life and you're just curious. Either way, let's start a conversation in the comments and talk about our experiences so that it's out in the open and that it's not so hush hush. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you later.